Live and I am recording as well. So welcome everybody that has joined us. Feel free to share your video. Love to see your faces so that we can chat to you and talk our way through this. This is an engaging conversation, and we are happy to have you off mute so we can talk through any problems or questions, or let's just help you work out this topic. So the topic for today is what makes your business different. So I'm joined with Deb and Sharon today to talk through this. So welcome, ladies.
Thank you.
Pleasure.
Thank you
being on the call. And yeah, so feel free to pop any questions you've got in comments. Love you to jump over to the Facebook group while we're streaming so that you can place your comments over there as well. So Lou, if you could put that link for the Facebook group over there so those live on the call can chatter over there as well. And let's look out for those comments. Thanks, Lou. So let's get started. So I guess one of the things that I hear quite a lot from bookkeepers is that, why am I different from another bookkeeping business? We all do bookkeeping and we all do compliance and we all have similar clients. So why am I different to another bookkeeper? How do I compete? How do I market myself, network, when, I'm exactly the same as the bookkeeper down the road? So that's what we're going to unpack today. And we're going to talk about things like your point of difference and the vision for your own business, and that you are unique. And I think that's one of the things that I got from one of my coaches was that you are unique, you are different. Nobody else is like you. So that is one of the biggest things that I got comfort in finding my point of difference, and in finding that I was different to other bookkeeping businesses, that I didn't feel as if I had any competition from other bookkeepers, because I was different. I provided a different flavour. I provided, services that were strong to my genius zone, if you like. We actually have a couple of documents that you can download as well. I must grab that landing page for those. So it is around your genius zone. What is your genius zone? Is identifying what you are genius at, what you are strong at, what you love. Play to your strengths. So I will pop up a link to a worksheet where you can actually work through and answer the questions about what your strengths are, what your weaknesses are. Just helps you identify where you want to take your business. And probably this is, a good segue into your vision. Deb, did you want to talk about the vision?
Yeah.
This point of difference?
I think, and look, creating your vision is definitely the foundation stone of anyone starting a business. Where do I want to be in 5, 10, 15 years' time? Why do I want to be there? I think that's a good question to ask yourself. But in terms of your point of difference that you were referring to, Katrina, I think one of the things that bookkeepers feel a little bit uncomfortable about, and I can't speak for the general population, is that mostly we feel that our story isn't that important, that well, we're just bookkeepers. What I do is it's bookkeeping, it's debtors and creditors and bank recs. If you think of your marketing message and you think about, that's actually not what people want to hear. As you said, Katrina, the differentiation is actually your story. It's where you came from. It's what you believe in. It's what your values are. It's what your vision is, what you're passionate about. And this is part of our story. And I never really appreciated that until I started working with Peter Cook, how that my story is actually important. And it's not just important to me, it's valuable to my clients. And they will often choose you because they can relate to your story. they go, right, this is a person, these are her values. Right, she's aligned with my value, he is aligned with my values, or they're exciting. They look passionate. Look at the colors on their website. Look at the branding and all of that. So don't undervalue your story and all the personal parts of what makes up your story. That's what people are buying. That's your point of difference.
I was muted, sorry. Exactly. That's, a good exercise to go through and understand. I think it just strengthens where you want to place yourself and how you can, move forward and operate from that. So Sharon, did you want to weigh into the conversation?
Yeah, look, I think the most exciting thing that I find is that for the first time ever, we've all got an equal platform. We all have like years ago, if you got on telly, it was a big deal, right? I was interviewed on the news, watch the news, turn it on at 6 o'clock, Whereas now we can all have an equal stage with YouTube, Facebook, I think the hardest thing, and I don't want to make it about an age, but I think the hardest thing about my kind of age group is that we haven't been raised on this. So it's actually to build the confidence to be able to get our message out to the world. And while we've got these free stages to be able to do that with, I think it's really important to really drill down into what our expertise is and what our individual, like how we are very different to each other and what is it about us that makes us unique, and getting our stories really interesting around that. And it's not just about figures, it's about, I know I've just hired a bookkeeper and there's a whole bunch of reasons around why I hired him to work with me. And they say that 80% of our buying, the reasons we buy are emotional, 20% are logic, but we think that we're making it on logic, but really it's that stuff in our gut that gets us to make decisions. And what we want to do as bookkeepers is to get our message and our individual personality out to the world to be able to attract the people that want to work with us and we want to work with them. A great example of that is I was on a podcast and months ago, I was on a podcast. I had a lady text me in Messenger, Facebook Messenger, and said, "Hey, I just heard you on a podcast and I want to work with you." It's like, and ultimately I'm working with her now. And she said, "It's when you said that one line, Sharon, I knew I wanted to work with you then." And and because I've had a branding coach, I had a branding coach for 12 months to tell me what I was unique at, because I didn't know what that was. Once I realized what my uniqueness was, I was like, okay, well, I'll talk more about that. And the beautiful thing about this, and my coach told me this had happened, it's just so cool when it happens. And this is what it was, like a manifestation of what she told me. When she messaged me and said, I want to work with you. I mean, there's a heap of other coaches out there, but it's really cool because she was attracted to me, and now because she listens to everything I say, she's implementing it and getting fantastic results because we're kind of a good match because of and it's not easy. Like I was going to say, I was brave enough to be able to get myself out there, because it's not easy for me either to do videos and be on podcasts and things. It's not an easy thing for me to do, but I know that it's the way that'll bring clients to me that we've got a synergy essentially.
Yeah, nice. I'd love to hear from the audience what their frustrations are around, making that decision or, feeling different to other bookkeepers. And Maurice, did you want to come off mute? You're the only face I can see at the moment. So have you got a story to tell around, or maybe you already know what your difference is and that you've...
No, not really. Unfortunately, I think my only difference is that it's a negative one. It's that I'm not on any social media. I've always got my clients through word of mouth. And as Sharon says, I'm kind of that generation where the social media terrifies me. And so I've never taken enough time to sort of sit down and get my head around it and work out how it can work for me. So that's always been on my to-do list, and it's just something I'm too terrified to do at the moment. But, you know, I'm hoping that I'll get there, which is why I engage with you ladies so much, is that I'm trying to get my confidence up to find out where I can get the information from to implement those things and to bring my level of learning up enough to do it well, because I'm not doing it if I'm going to do it half-assed. So I really do want to kind of get it right. And I know that will be a process, but it's about getting to the point where I'm ready to start working on that as a serious marketing issue for my business.
I think one of the a place to start. Good to see you, Maurice, too, by the way. One of the a place to start, I was just thinking as you were talking, is when you get testimonials from your clients, they always say something, but they usually say, it's not just about, oh, Debbie's a great bookkeeper, she always balances everything.
Well, you would hope so.
Yeah, like that's what everyone does, right? So what you often hear, though, is Debbie's a great bookkeeper, she always balances everything. And how that makes me feel is empowered. She's, I couldn't have achieved this without her passion and commitment and all of that. So I would encourage you, if you haven't really spent time really getting great testimonials, it does a couple of things. Obviously, you can put it in your marketing on your website and things like that, but it begins to start to seep in. You go, oh, really? Gee, I thought I was just bookkeeping, or, especially when you're starting out and you think that that's all you're doing. It's only when you really start to get feedback from clients and you don't even realize until you ask them what kind of an impact you've had in their lives. Like it's not just bookkeeping. It is about empowering. And I think going through that process would help you articulate what is it that your clients love, and then you can start to pick out little quotes, little 2 or 3 words or 4 or 5 words about what is it that they love about you, and that can form the basis of you can expand on that. This is what I do for my clients. And this client said this about me, and I'm passionate about helping clients around this because of this experience with this client. So I would encourage you to have you gone through that process, Maurice, of getting testimonials?
No, no, I haven't. But I have to say that going through COVID with my existing clients, I think now's a really good time to hit them up for
really good time.
Nice things to say about me, because they seem to now be appreciating what I provide, that I'm a part of their businesses rather than just an external consultant, which is how they maybe saw me before this. I think now they've understood how involved I am.
Yeah, we have a template in the sales and marketing manual in the template area called Getting Testimonials from Your Clients. It's under existing clients. So if you want to have a look at that there, and that goes for anyone else who's online or listening or whatever from Pure Bookkeeping, then jump on that. That's a really easy way, not only to get testimonials from your clients, but also to find out if something's not quite right.
Thank you. Yep. Thanks.
One of the other ways when you're getting started working out what your differences are, it is on the document that I've just uploaded into the Facebook live stream, is looking at your unique experience that you have had. Like, we all come into our business with a lot of unique experiences. Like, before I started bookkeeping, I was a tax accountant. So I had that to come as a point of difference, that I could understand a business, what they need to be able to provide to their accountant or their tax planning, or identify areas of concern that needed to be highlighted before the end of year. During the journey of my bookkeeping, I attracted a lot of inventory clients. So I had a lot, and importers. So I had a lot of experience, gathered a lot of experience over the years around importers and inventory. That was a skill and unique to me. Like, not a lot of bookkeepers, and I know, Deb, you've said before you hate inventory. So it gave me that point of difference and I could do my marketing around inventory and attract inventory clients for that reason. So it's not just, the standard work that we do that we all do and we all love, but think about what experiences you have had in your life to bring you to this point that you could use as a strength as well, as that you could really leverage from. And especially if you are passionate about something, that, bring that into your business and build on that. And that's, how we find our differences between, our next door bookkeeper.
And I think with that, Katrina, kind of linked with that then is that if inventory or whatever it is, your target, so you think about what is your ideal client. And if inventory or that sort of thing is your ideal client, then your marketing message, your story, the story of all your experience will come into about me on your website and explain what your history is, what your background is. They go, oh, that person's really, experienced. But you want to, if that's what you want to target, then your message, your story on your website, all the colors, all the branding, the way you speak. If you want to attract groovy, 20-year-olds, new startup businesses, and then your website, your story, your message would be something that would attract that kind of person, the person that's starting out, an entrepreneur. And you're really are passionate about entrepreneurs and helping new businesses start up. Well, you'd have a bright, vibrant, kind of hip website. They don't want to see calculators and grey kind of thing. But that is part of your story and your unique selling point. But part of that exercise then is going through and saying, well, what is my unique selling point? Or who do I enjoy working with? If you enjoy working with tradies, then you can customize your unique selling point to the experience you've got with all their softwares and their apps and their issues, even the issues that tradies have around growing their business. You identify that with the content that you've got in your website. It's all linked.
Yeah, exactly. Is there somebody else that would like to come off mute from the audience that is struggling with, identifying why their business is different? Any frustrations that we could talk through as well?
Or anyone that's even been through this and has kind of worked out what the formula is, and you'd like to contribute and give some tips as well to those people that are going through it now.
Helen, you've got a smile.
Helen's ready.
I'm trying to give someone else the opportunity to speak for a change.
No, that's okay. If they wanted to, they'd put their hand up and they could come off mute now, and we'll see who wants to talk. But you go ahead, Helen. It's all your stage.
What's the question? Okay, social media I don't do because our clients don't spend time on social media. So we ruled that out quite a long time ago.
Yeah. So this is about you identifying why you're different to other bookkeeping businesses. So and going through that exercise. And you may not have gone all the way through it, but do you have frustrations around identifying yourself as different, or maybe you have success already, have done that?
I was honestly smiling because I think we're different because we're blunt and say we don't put up with a lot of crap. And you know, I'm a bit brutal like that, but there's just, you know, it just goes back to, you know, the reason why we do this, why we enjoy doing this, why we leave our house, our family, all that. There's a lot of things I don't put up with. Yeah, I think people like that direction. I mean, I don't know, like our clients know exactly what we need, when we need it, everything else, you know, we give them a few nudges on the back here and there to say, okay, you haven't done this, we really need this, one more warning, and we're walking away. That's it. Because we don't have time to handhold people and chase them for paperwork. It's hard enough just running the business, let alone, you know, you sit down to just review a BAS and nothing's done, and, you know, all the work you're waiting on, you still don't have those bank statements you asked for how many times. So I just don't have the time capacity to deal with those clients. So,
and that there's a go on, Deb.
I was going to say, you've got a website, haven't you?
Mhm.
When you were creating your website, or even thinking, you know, before you started it, did what sort of thinking process did you go through to think about, how am I going to stand out from every other bookkeeper that does BASs and bookkeeping to trial balance and things like that? Did you go through that process at all?
our main focus and my main thinking around the website was attracting accountants. A lot of them, yeah, that is our main referral source. We might get drips and drabs from, you know, Xero advisor ads and that kind of thing, but the majority, our 98% comes from the accountants.
So you actually customized your website,
yeah,
specifically, rather than going to clients necessarily and attracting, creating a website to attract the clients, you created your website to attract accountants. It's an awesome strategy.
Yeah, so we list our services, all that. I mean, it's not perfect, but it's enough there that accountants, there's a whole page for the accountants. And it's detailed what we can do for them and how we work. Because ideally, you know, my main thing every time when I'm doing bookwork, like even you know, we're doing end of year now, so to speak, and I'll get on the phone to the accountants and I'll actually, certain things I'll try and think ahead. How does that affect the accountant? It's not just about the accountant needs to see paperwork. Our accountants don't even look at things like that. So they expect that file will be ready to go and we have checked everything. So any queries, any documents, all that, they've already got in hand when they're ready to do taxes. And, you know, if, as I said, if we come across something that is a little bit, you know, we're unsure, I won't go back to the client. I'll just ask the accountant. It'll be the first thing I'll do. Get on the phone, have a chat to the accountant. Accountants, if they change something, whichever after, you know, something may occur. I had an accountant yesterday only rang and said, hey, I need this figure to be $5 less. I nearly jumped out of my skin. But he goes, because I know when you get my trial balance, you're going to see that and that's going to really irk you. And I don't want you spending time looking for why I did that. This is why I did it. So straight away, I can go in and do that journal and done. You know, so we work for the accountant. We do put the client first, obviously. That's the day-to-day management bookkeeping. But our end goal is always to, you know, make sure the accountant is 100% happy with what we do.
And do you feel as if what you've spoken about today is different to other bookkeepers?
Well, if I look at, I guess, what I read, say Facebook posts, everything like that, with a lot of the queries or people that are struggling with issues, I think it is client focused. To me, I look at that and I think, I wouldn't even bother with the client. The client's not going to know that question, that answer.
That's exactly what I mean. That's because that you have created your unique business. So you and by putting that in your message, and when you are meeting clients and accountants, you are, you know, they're getting the sense of that they will not put up with rubbish, or you will not put up with rubbish, which goes the other way as well. They don't want to go to a bookkeeper that doesn't quite know, is a bit wishy-washy, will just happy to be handed some rubbish. They will want to be directed so that we can have a really clean transition between, you know, the client's paperwork over to you, and that you know exactly what you want, and you're not going to provide them any wishy-washy answers. You're going to have a really swish service, so they're going to buy into that. So that's what I mean in identifying, and it could be that, you know, as simple as that you won't put up with rubbish, and that you work only with accountants, and you've highlighted accountants. So, you know, that is your footprint for your business.
The upside I found with growing a business too is when referrals come from accountants, we can already get the background of the client. We can find out what's really going on. No new leads through a friend or whichever is going to really tell you what's happening. The accountants will just say, look, I'm going to lay it out. This is how it is. I really need your help. You'll be able to fix this or straighten them out or sort this issue, or they've got a tax problem or whatever. So, and generally also our fee to some degree is discussed. Like accountants don't know our direct fee because it's always priced on jobs and whichever. So you've already got the client before you meet the client, if that makes sense. Like it's a done deal. We've never had to wait in anticipation of, are we going to get that client? Generally, it's always that conversation. Yes, we'll go meet the client and we'll decide if it's something that we can help them with. So it's always in our court. It's not the other way around. So that sort of just relieves that, I guess.
Yeah, no, that's great. Kim, you're on the call today, although you haven't got your video up. Are you struggling at all with your message or your, you know, knowing why you were different? If you want to come off mute. And there she is.
Hello.
Hi. So are you struggling with identifying what your business message is, or your business, you know, why you were different to other bookkeepers? And
I think actually putting it into words is probably where I struggle the most. But I do feel like my point of difference is because I'm offering, but then I'm kind of confused now after listening to everything, because it's more about me and my story rather than what I'm offering. But I'll just go on anyway. I see my point of difference as being because I'm offering the CFO side of it as well as the bookkeeping side of it, and really trying and working hard at getting businesses out of whatever hole they might be in, using those services. So yeah, I guess putting it into words is my biggest struggle there.
And a business difference can certainly be about the services that you do provide. So there aren't that many bookkeepers that are providing the CFO service. That, you know, more and more are, because we're all going into that advisory and want that higher end type of work, which is awesome. And I think in talking to others, other bookkeepers and even other small businesses about your CFO, and it will help you articulate it better.
Yeah.
Just having these conversations. So, Sharon, did you want to weigh into this conversation at all?
Yeah, I was just thinking, I've just got a bookkeeper on myself, and I was trying to think about what were the triggers that made me choose him. And I was like, I was interested, Kim, for you, like, hopefully we're not confusing you more, but it's really, I know he's a good, well, like, I guess I didn't really know if he was a good bookkeeper or not. I just really liked him. And it wasn't necessarily, I mean, I've known him for a long time. When I was building a bookkeeping business, he was one of my strategic alliances. I saw how he behaved. I heard about his wife and his kids and where they went to school. And I felt like, and he kind of knows that I freak out about bookkeeping. Like, I don't like, and he knows that I'm really anal about stuff because I don't know. So he wanted to work with me because of that, I'm sure, because he knows, like, he said he's never seen a spreadsheet so thorough as what you'd be proud of me, Deb. But I think what was really nice about that, it kind of comes back down to what I said to begin with, like, you know, we we accept the love we think we deserve, like we accept what we think we deserve. So there's a really good match between he and I, because he understands me, I understand him. And then all of these things started just unfolding really beautifully. Like he came yesterday to come and go through Xero with me, and he said, "Oh, have you got this book? I brought it as a gift for you." I'm like, that's not, I love that. I love gifts. So that was kind of really unexpected wow, which is pretty cool. And then I talked about Deb and the book that, you know, that you wrote with it. And it was like, anyway, I just feel like I was attracted to him as a person, which I think comes back down to don't be afraid to share about you and who you are. And if you're not sure, I call it gathering evidence. Gather evidence off the people you know. So off your current clients. Like, what do you think? Why did you choose me? I'd ask those sort of questions. Why did you choose me? And obviously your friends and your family and your acquaintances. But yeah, I think it's really gathering the evidence of what other people see in you that is attractive, and then highlight or amplify those up. Where if you're on social media and in your discussions about what makes you more of an attractive person to work with. And I think it's about personality, and also just making, I know my bookkeeper makes me feel very safe. And I think nothing he says about bookkeeping makes me believe that. I feel safe because of who he is as a person and his values.
I think sometimes when it's hard to, because we our background typically as bookkeepers, we're numbers people. We're not trained, generally speaking, in creative writing, or because we're talking. I just thought I'd jump into the practical elements of how do you articulate your unique selling point and why you are different. And I agree with Sharon about and I said earlier about getting testimonials, but how do you craft that into something that adequately articulates who you are and why that. And I was just wondering, and this is actually a question rather than, because I've never tried it, if the idea of, if you've these, so with these testimonial, the questions you ask that we've got in the Pure Bookkeeping system, what you do is you take a whole lot of notes while the client is answering that question. And then the idea is that you craft your testimonial from that. But I'm wondering if you get, Sharon, you said about gathering evidence, if you had a number of bits and pieces of evidence of what people have said to you, maybe it's not worded fabulous, maybe it's just heartfelt, which is what you want to capture. It's the heartfelt bit that is hard to capture, so you capture the heartfelt of what they're really feeling. And then I just wondered, could you outsource that? What about Fiverr or something like that online, where you could say, I've got this bunch of, here's all the information I've gathered. Can you make that into something that's about me? It's just actually, as I say, I've never tried that, but it just came into my mind to help bookkeepers who are not trained as, in writing and things like that. But you can get the information. Absolutely, you'll be able to get the information. You're the best one to do that. But would that be an option? Anyone got any thoughts about that?
I think it's a great idea personally. But how do you find the right person, I guess, to write it all out, or am I thinking too much into it now?
Yeah, I think with these Fiverr things and I don't know, whatever else they are, put it out, you kind of scope the work and you say, I need a 300 word thingy-bob, and here's the draft, and rejig what is what they're saying. I think I don't have any direct experience of it.
Yeah, it is. You just jump on, you create an account under Fiverr or Upwork, and you just look for copywriters, story writers, and they're usually not expensive. But if you just engaged with somebody and just sent them some of your copy and get them to turn it into something that writes a little bit nicer, and you can look at examples that they've done. they will give you a list of websites or case studies or blogs that they've written. So you could do it that way. So it's a good way of getting stuff done, because we're not very good at being a wordsmith, because we're usually good at books, not so much words. So that, and they might be able to articulate. You could, look for a marketing person as well, a marketing consultant or something like that could help a little bit further.
Just be careful of it. Don't spend a lot of money on this. Don't do that. Don't spend a lot of money on this. This is meant to be, quick and cheap, and get it done and get it on your website. And also, to one of the things that is really important, and when you speak the words, we're talking about articulating and things like that. And in the pure bookkeeping system, in the marketing, we've got all these scripts. There's hundreds of scripts about things that I said at different times to different people. There's 60-second infomercial that you do in BNI networking groups, possibly other networking groups as well. How do you describe yourself? What can you say about yourself in 60 seconds that's going to capture? That's all you've got. You've got 1 minute to capture my attention, and I don't want to hear about trial balances or bank recs in that 60 seconds. So if you can do that and capture someone's attention who is not a bookkeeper, and you can practice that on your family members, and the more you actually say it out loud and hear yourself, it's another way of getting the confidence. Maurice, you mentioned about getting the confidence to do things. It's actually in the doing that you get confidence. So create, just maybe use some of the scripts that I've got in the system, that we have in the system, and adapt those to something that sounds like you, and embellish it and say it out aloud and practice it on your dog and your cat and your husband and your wife and your spouse and your kids and anyone that's in the room, and get their feedback. And have fun with it. We tend to overthink it a lot. It's got to be perfect. I can't put that out there until I get it right, and all the sort of things that we've talked about before about perfectionism. And we need to be like that when we're doing the bookkeeping. It's completely unhelpful for practically anything else that you do in business and in life.
Exactly.
Robin,
did you want to?
Yeah, I was just going to say, hi everyone. I've got a page on my website that says, I think it's called like what I'm up to now or something like that. And it's basically, how on your website, it's like you do it and you leave it and you never look at it again. It's so static. And so this is something that I go into every now and then, and I just update, what I'm up to now. And I'm just having a quick look at it. So I have headings. I've got doing. So at the moment I've got like starting the day with yoga and, running a business, spending time with our sons, and like more than that, like each line has got more than that. And then I've got planning and all the things that I'm planning and what I'm thinking about and what I'm not doing. So I just have, it sort of just gives a snapshot into who I am as a person, which is what you were talking about, Sharon, is like people want to connect to you. So, and know who you are. And I think like in my age group, I feel like when I was, growing up sort of early in my career, it was all about being very professional. And, of course you do that with your business, but these days people want to, know who you are, connect to you as a person. And and I think that just, if people can know a little bit about you before they make contact with you, that's like a little bit chipped away already, a little bit in your favour. So, yeah.
Yeah, that's lovely. Thanks for sharing that. That's gorgeous. I love the idea of updating the website regularly, and to do that, just to put a little bit of a personal touch to it. And I know, we all know that you're a traveller. Well, you were. COVID. So, just refreshing, where your stories, where you've been, what you're doing, where are you working from today? I mean, a lot of us are different.
I think, you know, like you were talking about the point of difference in who you are. So for me, like, it sounds like just the worst business idea ever. Like, I don't want to be in my office. Like, I like to travel and I work all different hours depending on what I want to do. Because sometimes I want to go swimming and sometimes I want to go out for lunch. And it sounds like that's just the worst business idea ever. But the people that I connect with are those people that are doing similar, you know, like I've got consultants who travel overseas and they know that I can run my business like that. So I'm the perfect person to work with them because that's how they want to run their business. And I had a lady that came to me a couple of years ago now, and she said, I've read your website, I want you. And I'm like, I'm sorry, my books are full. And she said, no, but I want you. And when I spoke to her and eventually took her on, she was actually going in for surgery and had a long period of time that she was going to be doing rehabilitation. So she needed to run her business from a hospital bed. Wow. And I was the person that she wanted because she knew that I could do that. Like, she knew I would be able to help her to do that. So even though my, you know, like the way I want to live my life sounds like it's just a terrible idea, I'm actually attracting all of those people that are similar to me. And I think, you know, that's sort of, I guess, what you're after.
Yeah, that's so true. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a great story. Thanks for sharing, Robin. Is anyone else wanting to jump off mute and talking about their experience with how they're struggling? Jacqueline, you've just jumped on the call. Are you wanting to chat about what makes your business different? She might not be on listening just yet. That's okay. One of the things I'd love for you to do is jump over to the Facebook group, The Successful Bookkeeper, where we're live streaming, and perhaps put in there one of the things that make you, that you are now thinking that makes you different. What is it? Something that you love? Is it something that you love, your service, the industry that you work with? The link is in the chat box. If you could jump onto the Facebook link, jump over into Facebook and just make a comment there. What is one thing that is unique to you, that makes your business different? Love to hear some of the feedback over there. And for those that are listening as well, we've got people listening in, put up your comments and we'd love to see them come through.
And Sharon Krista has asked you a question. She had to leave, unfortunately, but you can jump onto that. You can answer her question about what your business is.
Oh, cool.
So, yeah, I think there's been some great tips. She's also mentioned Upwork.
She loves writing and creative writing, so that will really be useful for Krista to write her story. And it makes it just easier when you love writing to be able to just flow and write your story and make yourself feel different as well.
Yeah, we started by go on.
Sorry, Deb.
You go.
This is a bit of a left of centre idea, but we find it hard to say what we're good at, right? Like who we are and what makes us unique. And I reckon one of the most confronting times of my life was when I separated from a 26-year marriage, and I took 12 months to take a breath. And then I thought, you know what, I've got to get out there. And I was quite innocent, I believe now, looking back. And so one of the first things I did was go online, which is what they all do these days. So I had to write a profile of who I am. So similar to this, right? And I did that, and I kind of, what I found interesting, it was like a social experiment, I guess. And what I got back was what you would probably call D-class clients. So I was like, wow, because I was really kind of innocent in that I thought, I'm a happy, bubbly girl. I should find somebody. I didn't think it would be an issue. And, I can have a conversation. I'm good. Like I just didn't, naively thought, And like, I listened to my brother. He said, you're going to have choices, Sharon. It's all good. And I didn't. I found it really, really confronting. And I found the type of people that were attracted to me from my profile weren't the type of clients or people that I wanted to spend time with. So I looked at my profile. I thought, I need to rewrite this. And so I needed Helen's creative writing experience when I was looking for someone. So I actually went quite deep into what I wanted. And I spent a lot of time on who I am and what I'm looking for. And I gave it to a few of my friends and family to say, hey, do you reckon, what do you think this looks like? And I made sure my photos were really representative of who I am. So if anyone's been online dating, that's usually one of the things that they don't do. It's always photos that are 10 years old. And which is quite relevant to our business, I actually realised I was fishing in a pool that wasn't going to give me A-class candidates. So what I did was choose a different pool to go into with my new profile of saying who I am and what I'm looking for. The quality I had was poles apart. Like I blew me away straight away. I mean, I'm with the man, one of the first. This is a really funny story. I reached out to him twice in those cheaper pools, like the pools before. He didn't even notice me. And I wanted to be friends with him because he's French and I thought he was hot. And he didn't even reply to me. And I've given him hell about that since. This was 7 years ago. I went into the new platform. Little did I know Pierre was going into that new platform as well. I thought, I'm going to give him one last go. I reached out straight away. He came back to me. He said he didn't even remember me from the last platforms. So isn't that interesting? And he said it was what I'd written in my profile, because it was different, see, that attracted him to me. And then the rest is history. Isn't it amazing? I just find that fascinating for how you present yourself and what you're looking for. And I was definitely a lot more succinct in my second one. I was a lot more clear, because I'd sit there at coffees with these men that look 20 years older than their pictures. And I'm like, dude, you can't lie to me like that. That's just not. So it was kind of like I wasted all this time. So then I got a lot more succinct around what I was looking for and who I was. I was a lot clearer about who I was and what I wanted. So that's kind of a quirky way to look at it.
I reckon that's a great analogy, really, because, and that ties back into what I was saying earlier about knowing who your ideal client is. Knowing what industry you work in, what sort of work you like to do. What if you hated tradies or whatever it was, whatever industry, and you just kept attracting tradies into because of what was on your website? It's like, as you said, Sharon, it's like, what am I doing? Why am I attracting this industry or whatever it is that I don't like? And the other thing I think to be mindful of is you can't do your best work with every person. No. So Sharon, you just wanted one person. We all just want one person. In our business, we want enough of the right kind of people that we can do our best work with, but we can't service everyone. It's physically impossible to service everyone. It doesn't matter how many staff you had. You can't service everyone. So I love the way Helen always talks about who you're going away from your family, you're leaving your kids at home, your friends and things like that. You're making a sacrifice to be with this person or to spend time, whether it's remotely or wherever it is, to do their work. If you feel sick every time you see their number come up on your phone, or they pester you and you don't set boundaries and things like that, or your website and your marketing message isn't clear enough to know that there are boundaries, and you're looking for this kind of client, then you're going to be wasting your time, your finite amount of time, doing work with people that you don't really appreciate or even respect. And why spend that precious time that we've got, the little of it that we've got, spending time with people you don't love? So spend time thinking about what are your values? What will you not compromise on? You know, respect and all of those other things. If you've got someone that's disrespectful to you, I had prospects that would ring me up and say, I'm looking for a bookkeeper. How much are you? And I made it a personal rule. I said, and I would say, you've heard this before, if price is price your priority? And they would invariably go, because they felt embarrassed then that they were being stingy, and they'd go, oh, no, it's not. And I go, okay, so I think let's make a time to meet so I can find out about your business and what your needs are, and I can tell you about my services. And some people said, no, I'm not interested. I want to know how much you are. And straight away, that was an alarm bell where I go, obviously, we're not on the same page, and I am not going to even waste any more time with you. And Helen, I see you've unmuted yourself. You've got something to say about that.
Anyone who asks me the price first, my first response is always, you can't afford me. That's that same thing. It's like, what do you mean? You know, they get their back up, and I'm like, if that is your concern, then you can't afford me, because you'll never understand the value of what I can do for your business.
Yay.
And it's just easy. It just shuts them up. So they either will continue and pester you for, tell me what you could do, this is my situation, and the whole price thing doesn't get mentioned again. So
I think the other interesting thing is, like what Sharon was saying about, I had never thought about it like that, but your website, it is like a dating profile, like it's putting it out there who you are. And and so if you go, oh, I love that bookkeeper's website, I'm going to copy that, you're going to end up with their clients. They're not going to be the ones that you want. So yeah, you really do. I never thought about it like that, but you really do need to, you know, be clear about who you are and who you want to attract.
So true, especially now with this whole personal branding thing. And, you know, and they're saying with the, you know, the information that we're putting out there, it's only 1% of, you know, we're consuming more than we're producing. So we sit on LinkedIn and Facebook and we're reading and consuming and whatever. Apparently there's only 1% of people producing and putting information out there. So putting our intellectual property and our blogs and our videos out to the world, you know, we're competing with 1% of the other people that are putting information out there. So in this sort of early stage, we're not too many people, we're all still trying to build up enough courage to get on there to talk about who we are and what we're about. I think, you know, it's not very noisy at the moment. So it's a time when we can stand out, which is really cool. I had a client a few weeks ago. I encouraged her to do a video and send out to her clients. She said, oh, I don't want to, Sharon, I just don't want to. She sent a video out to 4 of her clients and she got 4 from 4. They signed up, 4 programs she got from the 4 videos. They're like, that's really cool. What a cool video. And she's personable and friendly. And it's just, you know, that's, and I didn't think that it would work because she was sending them to real estate agents who, you know, they're doing videos and photos and they're in that world, but they still found it quite unique that she did it. So it was kind of quirky for them as well. So that was a good way that she stood out, I think, in her business.
Mm. Yeah, I love that.
Yeah.
So I've just I put the link over to the couple of documents around your genius zone and your idyllic spot, which is, you know, something I created for my mentoring clients to find out what they love, you know, what they, you know, we've talked about their strengths and abilities and experience and those type of things, but now we get into a bit more of the personal, you know, what you do love to do, what you find interesting, what you're passionate about, and then also identifying what you hate to do. Like, why are we working in a business of things that we don't like to do? So I've dropped that link to those documents over on the Facebook group in the live stream. So I've popped the link into the Zoom meeting just there. So if you want to jump over to the Facebook group, grab those documents. And I'd love for you also to jump over to the group now and tell us what your takeaway is of today. What is as we're just, you know, finishing up for the session, jump over there and let us know what your takeaway is. Maybe somebody would like to come off mute and also talk about, let us know what your takeaway is, and everyone else, jump over to the Facebook stream. Has somebody come off mute? And Robin, I know you said about Sharon's one-liners earlier on in the session. I love that.
Yeah. Sharon always comes up with these little, things that make me, I normally write them down or I walk away. And one was about setting goals when you're at the top rather than at the bottom. Never thought about that before. So you do come up with some good things that I sort of go, okay.
Well, that's nice.
And now I think about my website as a dating profile. So thank you.
I love it. Oh dear.
One thing that I've just had a thought as well, which I'd like to share while people are posting and whatever they're doing on Facebook, is when you think about what your story is and who your ideal client is and who you love to work with and things like that, there's a reason. What I think is worthwhile thinking about, why do you love working for them or working in that industry? And I think in terms of when you articulate your unique selling point, if you like, what's different to you is what pain points do you solve for those people in that industry or in that group or that type of client and what have you. The clients, when they're coming on, the prospects, when they're coming to your website, want to know if you can solve their problem. And firstly, they need to know, do you know what my problem is? So when they're looking at a website, can I relate to you? Do you look like do you sound like the sort of person that can solve my problems? And one of the ways of them measuring that is, do you actually know, when you talk to someone and they say something about you, you go, do you actually know me? I mean,
True.
What the hell are you talking about? So they want to know you, and it takes a bit of a skill to articulate that, but you've got to do a bit of work around that first in identify what pain. I love working for tradies. They've got the shoe box, they've got the glove box full of things. The bass is painful. All those little things that you think about, that your clients say about you, that you've just solved all these myriad of problems, write them down. That's part of your story. This is part of when someone's on a tradie's coming to your website, they want to go, does she understand me? Because the last 5 bookkeepers haven't. They've done this or the other thing or whatever. I want someone that actually understands where I'm coming from, right? Tells me, actually helps me articulate what my problems are, because there's all these unknown problems. They have this feeling about stuff, but they don't even know what problem that they've got. You articulate what problem that they've got, and you've got their attention.
Mm. Yeah,
I offer tradies out of their working hours, so that they can come when it's not costing them money, because they see the whole thing as a huge cost. And then to add on to that, missing out on jobs, they don't want it to happen. So offering them out of hours by appointment makes it easier for them.
Mm. Nice. So that's your point of difference. That's something that you're different to a lot of people. Yeah, and that will attract tradies that want that service. So that's
and also, we are all small businesses, being bookkeepers, accountants, etc. But I've also run a small business, the news agency. So therefore, that is a selling point as well for people, because they don't see our business as a business. They see it as performing something for them. So when I talk about that I have had a business, run a business, employed staff, etc., they see that as a business and see that as a plus for services provided for them.
Yeah, lovely. Awesome. All right. Well, I think we're at the top of the hour. So bye, Helen. Thank you so much, everyone, for attending. Lovely to see your faces. And please jump over to the Facebook group and pop your comments up so others can see what we're talking about in this particular recording. Hope you've enjoyed watching this, and we'll talk to you later. See you around the community. Bye.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.